Welcome back to the Faithist Ministries YouTube channel. My name is David. I am the host and the moderator for these talks. This channel is different than a lot of other Faithist channels out there. We try and focus on the Faithist stories, people who are living out what it means to have read a WASPy, what it means to call themselves a Faithist, what it means to live their lives according to their highest light, being tuned to Jehovah. So join me as we meet another brother in Jehovah. His name is Richard, and he will be joining me shortly.
Greetings.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going?
Hi, I like your picture.
Yeah, this is one of my latest paintings. I painted that about a month ago or so.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's supposed to be an image that came to me while I was meditating. It's
Wow.
of the angels rising, the ascending angels and stuff in the time of Cosmos.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm proud of this piece.
Yeah, how long did it take you to do it?
The process took me about 7 days, about a week or so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I have not done any painting, or I'm not really an artist, but I definitely respect I've tried, so I know how difficult it is, at least for me anyways. So I really respect the discipline of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been drawing all my life. I've been into art almost forever, for as long as I can remember. So, it's my thing. It's my craft.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so first off, what do you like to go by? Richardson, Brother in Light. You got a lot of aliases I'm aware of.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware of that. Yeah. I mean, you could call me Rich, but
Okay, cool.
Some people call me Brother in Light.
Yeah.
So Brother in Light is like my Guatemalan name, actually.
Yeah.
It was given to me.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me the story of that one. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, actually. It's a long story, but I'll make the long story short.
All right.
Yeah, so there was a time when I was meditating with my brothers and my sisters of the faith when I took a trip out to in Yorkern, actually. And they came to the lady which was the head of the chief of the place.
Okay.
And the Guatemalans came to her and told her my spiritual name, which was Brother in Light, and told me what my mission was as a faithist. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I never ever experienced anything like that before. So from then on, I was like, okay, so I'll go by Brother in Light. And that was my name since then. And I started a Facebook page with that name, Brother in Light.
Oh, I don't think I've run across it.
I think I follow you on that. I'm not sure if I do or not. Hold on, let me check.
I know we're connected a couple different ways on Facebook, but I'm not sure if I've come across your page, Brother in Light.
Right. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't. Because I have a page called Cosmon Art also.
Oh, well, okay. So you're the one who does the Cosmon art. Okay.
Yeah. I started that when I first knew what I wanted to do as a faithist. When I came into the faithist movement, I wanted to provide services to the people, the faithist people.
Yeah.
Which was at that time like sacred creator names, pendants, and also the wheel, the altar, paintings, and many different stuff I came up with that people were asking me for. And some of the stuff I just came up with because I wanted to, provide that to the people.
I think it's great. I think it's a great service that you do, and it's definitely inspired. And
yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. I really like to create. It's my thing. I've been doing it forever. And I feel as if the more I do it, the better I get at it,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's what I'm gonna stick to.
Nice. Well, let me because okay, so let me explain. So what I like to do with Faithist on this channel is sort of collect their stories, their whole journey, right? And get to know
Okay.
you,
Yeah.
and it's for me to get to know my brothers and sisters, but it's also for the world to be able to see this is a Faithist, and this is their story, and you've never heard of a Faithist before, so here's an example of it being lived out. So
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's very important because a lot of times you could learn from people's experience and from their
mhm.
journey. And so I'm all for it. I'm here.
Cool. All right, so in that vein of things, let's start at your beginning. How did you tell me a little bit about your background and your upbringing? Sort of like what is your sort of context for
Right.
when you were young?
Yeah, well, I was born into a family of Jehovah's Witness. Well, my father was a Jehovah's Witness. My mother's side was Jehovah's Witness. Everyone on my mother's side was Jehovah's Witness. My father wasn't really religious, and so my mother decided to raise me, my two brothers, and my sister as Jehovah's Witness. So we went to Kingdom Hall. I don't know if
Okay,
you're familiar with Jehovah's Witnesses.
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the church that they go to is called the Kingdom Hall,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a different structure than the faithist religion, but they believe in Jehovah as the creator and Jesus as the savior to reach the creator. Sort of like a mediator
Mm-hmm.
between ourselves and the creator.
Right.
So that's what I believed in growing up. And
Okay.
I started studying when I was 6 years old and started studying the Bible, started preaching, doing all types of studying, getting into the literature and stuff like that. And I did that up until I was 21 or so,
Okay.
around 21 years old. And I started questioning myself, started questioning the religion, started questioning a lot of things in life. And
Was there a question that you got stuck on that would just sort of like nod at you, and that's what really got you to continue
right,
questioning, thinking for
right.
yourself?
Well, there were many questions that I was questioning, especially about the fact that we cannot fully know the creator without knowing ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that I had to know myself more. I had to figure out who I am, who I want to be, so
Mm-hmm.
that I can fully indulge in my spiritual journey on my spiritual path.
Okay.
So that led me on to reading other books besides the Bible and besides the books that they provided to us as Jehovah's Witness. And
Gotcha.
so I read, there were many books that I read. Can't really remember all of them, but they were based on spirituality, about the continuation of life, which Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in. They believe that the body dies and we wait till
Oh,
Armageddon
soul
until
sleep.
exactly we fall
Gotcha.
asleep and then we wait for the resurrection and stuff like that. Which I know now is actually right after we die, we resurrect. And we could resurrect while we're still in the physical realm, so I came
Right.
to
Yeah.
understand that.
Raise our grade.
Right. We could rise
Yeah.
up in grade and resurrect as we
Mm-hmm.
progress spiritually. So I learned that. And then I was still lost because I didn't really have any guard. I didn't really have a focus at that time when I was going through the questioning phase because I stopped going to Kingdom Hall and I was
Mm-hmm.
on my own. So I was reading books here and there, but I wasn't too serious about any particular religion or any book. And that led up to me going back to the religion when I was 27,
Uh, yeah.
right? So I thought to myself that I wanted to try to see if they could answer the questions that I had at that time. And they still didn't.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the elders there. They gave me answers, but it wasn't the answers that I was looking for. And it wasn't really resonating with me fully.
Hmm.
So I just started searching some more and did some research online, did some research on Google, on YouTube, and I came across a few answers. I came across a few answers that really fulfill my desire to know, a desire to understand. And that eventually led me onto a WASP, because at that time I was praying a lot, I was meditating, and answers were coming to me.
Hmm.
So I was glad that I ran across the WASP on YouTube. And
Oh, so you
yeah,
found it on YouTube?
on YouTube. Yeah,
So
correct.
okay, I gotta ask you, what your first impression? I don't know what who you saw,
Right.
like what channel or what they were talking
Right.
about, but what was your first impression when you were exposed to a waspy for the first time? Like, what was running through your head?
Right. That's a good question because that's what really sparked everything. It's kind of like at the time when I went back to the Kingdom Hall,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was asking everybody in my life questions, like spiritual questions,
Yeah.
right? That I had in mind, and that I wanted answers to. So there was a time when I was debating with one of my friends that I went to high school with, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a Christian and he believed in the Trinity. So
Okay.
there's a debate that we had. We had a debate about whether if Trinity is a true doctrine of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that debate, he actually won because he showed me in the New Testament how Trinity is actually what Christians believe in. And I had the Jehovah's Witness Bible, the New World Translation.
Oh, okay.
So my Bible did not show that because they kind of took that out in the book, right? And his book is more ancient than mine because he had the King James Bible. So to make a
Okay.
long story short, um, I went home that day and started doing more research, started deep diving in that research, doing research about the Trinity. And then I typed in in on YouTube, I typed in it was Jehovah, I typed in Jehovah and the Trinity and
Hmm.
Jesus, something like that.
Yeah.
And then there was a page that popped up, a few pages popped up, a few things popped up, and one of them said Jehovah and the Trinity, right? And I
Yeah.
clicked on it and it popped up. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. So the first thing I seen was it said a waspy in the name, in the words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors. But I was
Right.
saying to myself, instead of an A, it said a I, Jehovih. So I was like, I kind of thought to myself whether if I should continue watching the video or not, because I didn't know which direction it was going.
Right.
So my instincts told me I should keep watching, and I continued watching, and it was Selah Shalom, who,
Nice.
yeah, it was Selah Shalom, who was giving a little discourse about the Trinity and how it came about, right? So I watched the video, and I wrote down the name of the book, Oaspi, and right after the video, I looked it up on Google.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of deep diving, and
Right.
I just deep dived into it. I was like, okay, so I seen um, a few a few things popped up when I typed in Oaspi, and I ended up getting the book further down the line. Started reading the book, the PDF version, and I was reading it day and night. I was really into it. I was hooked on it. It was kind of like an obsession
Yeah, I
because
can
it
remember
was answer exactly. Yeah, it was answering my questions back to back.
that. Yeah.
You know, it had all the answers that I was looking for at that moment, at least. And It
What?
was,
Let me ask you. What was the first thing you read? You read in a WASPy that
right.
was like uh, eyes wide open, mouth on the floor, like what? I cannot believe this is in this book. What was the first thing?
Yeah, that's a good question, because
Just
the
probably a lot.
first book I read was a book of Esra.
You read? Oh,
And
you read Esther first?
yeah, I went
Wow.
to Esra because I was
You go
really trying
men.
to figure out, right, what the whole Trinity was about. That was the
Oh,
first thing I was
yeah,
really
that makes sense.
trying to figure out. So I read the book of Esra,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured out that Luamung was the one that was portraying or putting his place in the Christian religion to be
Mm-hmm.
worshipped by the Christians,
Yeah.
right? And when I read the that story, I don't remember exactly how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, okay, so I have to read this book from the jump. I have to read it from page to page, from cover to
Okay.
cover. Yeah, because it was jaw dropping when I found out that Jesus wasn't the ones that Christians were worshiping
Mm-hmm.
in reality.
When I read that there was a difference between the creator and God, it took me a second to sort of wrap my head around that. But once that sunk in, everything made so much sense. The Bible actually began to make sense to me. Like, well, of
Right,
course, that
exactly. Yeah,
it's actually even in the Bible
right,
if you're paying attention.
right. In the Old Testament and in the New Testament, in both,
Oh man.
on both Bibles, yeah. Because it's interesting how the Awaspi breaks that down. It says that in a lot of places, it says that Jehovah is said to God, and that God is lower than Jehovah. They're not
Mm-hmm.
the same people. But in the book, in the Bible that we read, that I was reading, the Old Testament and the New Testament, and put them actually as the same person. It says Jehovah God or
Yeah.
Jehovah God, you know. So it was interesting to find that out in the Owaspi. That was jaw dropping too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you found a Waspy and then you read Esker and now you're reading through all of it. At what so and you're done with Kingdom Hall, or are
Right.
you still kind of back and forth a little bit?
Oh no, I had actually disassociated myself with them
Mm-hmm.
and went full vegetarian. Well, first I went pescatarian,
Okay.
right? And then after a year or so, or I think 11, 12 months, almost a year, fish started smelling and tasting nasty. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna eat fish anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and became full vegetarian. And yeah, from then on, I just started reading the Owashi more, getting into the book, reading it day after day, and getting deeper into it. Yeah.
So um so now you're into wasping. How has your life changed since becoming a faithist? Like what are specific beliefs and practices that
Right.
I mean you already mentioned your diet, but
Right.
allowing the principles of philosophy to sort of soak into your life, how does that affect your life?
Right. Yeah. The principles in the Owashi really changed my life dramatically, especially the fact that I cut myself off from a lot of people that I knew in the past,
Yeah.
and so that I could practice what I was learning,
Mm-hmm.
because there was times that I wasn't able to focus when I first started reading, and a lot of things just started not feeling right anymore. So I just stopped doing a lot of things like smoking, and drinking, and hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
So that led me to being more pure, purifying myself, cultivating my spirituality, and focusing more on the creator, like
Mm-hmm.
meditating more, meditating daily, doing my daily prayers, and kind of focusing myself into solitude.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting. I mean, I'll speak from my experience, but you can add to it. When I was a Christian,
Mm,
I felt like there was this sort of built-in kind of group isolation. Like anybody who doesn't sort of believe the way we believe is
right,
outside of our group, and that was kind of
right,
built into it. A lot of judgment, a lot of discrimination, belief
right.
systems, and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I
we were
think that's, yeah, I'm
Well,
listening.
we were promised this idea of like, if we do these things, we will experience freedom and peace and joy. And
Mm,
then I started reading Owaspy and living it out, and the judgment went away, the
right,
discrimination of beliefs went away,
right,
and then I actually understood what freedom and joy and peace actually was.
right, right. Yeah,
What's your
I
experience?
agree. I agree with that fully because I think it's human nature to kind of separate ourselves from those who doesn't have the same ideals as we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beginning stage of spiritual growth. And I feel that in my spiritual growth, I was there. I was there where I separated myself and I eventually figured out that it's all about love. We have to love others. We have to accept others. It's
Mm-hmm.
about love, acceptance. It's about understanding and understanding
Mm-hmm.
and trying to overstand so that we could see things from a higher perspective. You know,
Exactly.
and when you do that, it's kind of like you see everybody as their yourself, and you treat them as so, as if they're yourself,
Yeah.
as if
I
they're your
mean,
peers. You know,
I think there's a prayer. Well, there's a prayer. I think it's one of the morning prayers. It talks about um, one, not judging, but also seeing everybody, seeing the best in everybody because they are the handiwork of the Creator. I really
right,
like that. You know, everybody is valuable. We're all part of the creation.
right,
You know, that puts everybody at a very high value right from the get go. So there's no
right,
reason to think negatively about people.
right. And the more that we spiritualize ourselves and purify ourselves, the more easier we'll be able to see that. We'll be able to understand it and live it out in real life.
Mhm.
You know, instead of just saying it, because um, I came to the realization that a lot of people are very judgmental in the world,
Yep.
but when it comes to seeing others and when it comes to seeing others as brothers and sisters under the Creator, we kind of have to understand that we're all equal. We're born equal. We might not have equal opportunities and stuff like that, but it's important to know that everybody's different. They're always gonna have their similarities or their difference, but the creator manifests through each being differently. Like through my artwork, I realized that the creator specifically expressed himself through me visually,
Mm-hmm.
my creativity. Some others might be able to write pretty well, or might be able to build pretty well,
Right.
or do something else pretty well. And yeah, came to the realizations that we're all here on Earth, so we should work on building with each other and
Mm-hmm.
accepting each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's so interesting because I mean, I can tell you that's exactly sort of the flow of discovery once I started reading Owaspy was we have to stop fighting. My whole
Right,
life,
right,
my whole life was about fighting spiritually with other people.
right, right,
We got to stop all that. We got to be brothers and sisters. We're one family on this earth.
right.
No need to fight.
Yeah, the fighting caused confusion. It caused a lot of hate. It caused the war and destruction to keep going on in a cycle. You know, but when we start loving and loving our brothers, loving our sisters, and treating each other as equals, then people will feel accepted, and then they'll be able to shine and express themselves more freely and be more, empowered, pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel that that's important. Yeah.
And when you have that space, when you hold that space sort of sacred, where people come together and know that there's that baseline value and there's baseline acceptance and just love, and they can, then there's room to express their ideas, and we can learn from each other, and it drops being, that defensiveness. And when that defensiveness goes, then we can actually sort of work through some of the, the trauma that we've all experienced by all of our old world programming.
Right.
When we
And
stop
I
being
feel
defensive.
I feel that we could attain all this by going within, because another thing I realized on my spiritual journey, especially as a faithist, is that when we are trying to find a way out a situation, or when we're trying to find a way out of darkness or whatever negative experience we might be going through, the answer is always to go within. The answers are always within. Once we delve within, we could connect to that inner light, and that we could understand what the Creator wants us to be doing in this situation, in this world, and within our lives, and with others, and stuff like that. I feel that that's very important as well.
Yeah, can't escape. Even in like when in a WASPy, when it's giving the account of the lower heavens, even after the false gods are rescued from hell, they still can't escape the consequences of their actions. They can't run away from it. But now it's their turn to start teaching and raising up the ones that they deceived.
Right.
And
until they have raised the last one up. Yeah. And then they could work on progressing themselves. But it's important.
Running away is never going to work.
Right. There's a part in I think it's the book of the book of Divinity, where Ahura was a tyrant god, right? And he ended up end up in hell, and was released from hell. But later in the book, one of Jehovah's gods was telling him that he is one of Jehovah's brightest sons. So it's kind of like, even though he did all that he did against the Creator, he is still valuable in the Creator's eye. And that's because of the fact that he could raise up so many people and other angels back up to the Creator, So I think that's very exciting to know that there's always hope,
Yeah. Okay, there's two things that probably stand out the strongest for me. Like, when you're first discovering, it's new and exciting and like totally fresh. Some of the first two things that I realized that just blew me away was, I will never lose my free will. I will never find myself in a destination where that's the end. That's the final destination. And I will never lose my value, no matter what I decide. I was like, how amazing is that, to always have free will and to always have value, no matter how you exercise your free will? I was like, my mind was blown. My heart was like wrenched. Like, I cannot believe I've like missed out on this truth my whole life. Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Definitely is. Free will is powerful, and that's the reason why so many people are trying to block others from having free will, because they see the potential of, that's if the person is educated on how to use their free will in the right manner. Because if everybody had free will, I can't really judge, but my imagination is telling me that the world will still be chaotic. But if we were educated on how to use our free will the right way, I think it'll be a much better world, much quicker.
Yeah.
Especially if we are turning to righteousness and purity and all things that the Creator wants for us, then the free will be used in the right manner.
Yeah, freedom and responsibility have to go hand in hand, or either one
Right.
by itself is really no good.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Free will is freedom and responsibility. Yeah. And that's the thing. At the times that we're living in now, a lot of people are focusing on their freedom
Yeah. And not
without
the responsibility.
responsibility,
Yeah.
without taking responsibility. And vice versa. Some people are responsible with their freedom. And those are the ones that Jehovah is going to, choose for his kingdom, to help build his kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you a couple questions, like on a practical level, about being a faithist. How long have you been a faithist? Like, how many years has it been?
Man, I started my journey in 2014. I was
Okay,
like 28 years old. I was a baby. And
it's like almost 10 years.
man, I'm 37 now, so it's been about 9 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when you started down this journey, what kind of support were you able to find? Like, did you find any communities? I mean, or any
Right.
um it's so weird being part of a faith discipline without like a church to go to, right? So how have you
Right.
navigated that challenge?
Yeah. It was kind of slow to when I first started. I was reading and watching day and night, so I didn't really have time to think about anyone outside of myself. I
Right.
was I was going through self-transformation. I was doing self evaluation and assessing myself and my growth. So
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't have time to do that. The first year I spent reading from cover to cover. And second year I spent it trying to understand what I am digesting from the book
Mm-hmm.
and how it relates to what's going on around me.
Right.
So the third year I read it again. Between the second and third year I read it again. Then I reached out to a sister on Google. It was a Faithist page on Google,
Hmm.
right? And I reached out to her and she led me to a group of Faithists that was actually the Restoration Faithists. I think you probably are familiar with them.
Oh yeah, they're in New York, right? I've heard of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they're
want to get
based in
connected with them eventually.
they're based in New York. But
Yeah,
they're spread out. They're spread out throughout
I have
different
friends who are part of it,
nations. Right.
that are involved with them, but I just haven't
Yeah.
done it myself.
Yeah, definitely. So I reached out to them and I started affiliating with them,
Mm-hmm.
started building with them and um meditating with them and stuff like that, working on different issues.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think that was the fourth year. That was probably the fourth year of me finding the watch.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I eventually started deep diving into the book through that process, getting into different parts of the book more to kind of grasp different subjects in the book so that I can understand it deeper
Right.
and from different perspectives. And that led me to dedicating myself as a faithist because I know at that time that I wanted to be a faithist forever.
That's
When I
awesome.
reached, yeah, when I reached the fourth year, I made that decision.
Wow.
And throughout the years, I've been working on different artwork and pendants and sacred wills and poems and a bunch of different stuff, different creative ventures. And that was between the 5th and the 6th year. And during the 7th and 8th year, and up until now, I've been working with different faithists on different subjects and on different projects, I should say.
Yeah. Like,
And
an example of like what have your efforts been? Like, what kind of projects?
Currently, we're working on a children's owaski. It's kind of like a condensed version of owaski, which is much easily read with illustrations, artwork, and
Oh
stuff.
man.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. It's a nice project. It's something
That's
we're working
awesome.
on to release sometime next year, or the year after.
Wow. I
Yeah,
thought about working on like a comic book series or like an illustrated,
right.
like a graphic novel or
Yeah,
a
well,
series of books like that, where it was
right,
kind of an introduction to it in a way that would be accurate, but
right,
also accessible for people who normally wouldn't pick up, a 5 pound, you know,
right.
4 inch thick book, something more accessible. With children's philosophy, that's
Right.
really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the reason why I got into this project is because when I was young, I remember reading a condensed version of um the Jehovah's Witness Bible.
Hmm.
And it really helped me, even though it wasn't fully the truth,
Right.
the true stories and stuff like that, exactly how it went. Even though we'll never know exactly what the stories were exactly. But
Right.
it really helped me stay faithful to the creator. And
Hmm.
it helped me get to the point where I'm in now. It was kind of like a foundation for me as a child,
Yeah.
to build upon from floor to floor, brick by brick. And I got to where I am now. And so it's kind of a form of giving back to others, giving back to those who can benefit from it. Those who pick it up, I'm sure will
That's
benefit,
awesome.
you know. Yeah.
You have to let me know when that is ready to purchase, because I will definitely be buying a
Oh yeah.
couple.
Yeah, I'll let you know. For sure, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out. So are you doing the illustrations by yourself? Are you collaborating with other people or
Yeah, I'm collaborating with a few other Faithists, brothers
okay.
and sisters. We're going back and forth, brainstorming ideas and um, different concepts in which but I create the artwork the way I perceive it, the way I
Mm,
want, um, the way I
cool.
want to, what you call it, the way I want to project it.
Hmm.
You know, I have like a little graph table. I have my papers, my color pencils, and everything. So I just have everything set up, and I just when it's time to, after we talk about what we want to
Hmm.
create, I go and I create it.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
awesome.
far, we have a few drawings so far. And one of them is the Samoan tablet. Um, yeah, the Samoan tablet symbols.
And what are you doing with tablet specifically?
We're just making them in color instead of
Oh,
black and white.
I
And
got you.
like, yeah, I'm using red, blues, and red, blues, and yellow primary
Hmm.
colors. And
Nice.
we're depicting the time when the angels came to the Assyrians
Hmm.
and taught them how to be more civilized and stuff like that. We're working on many different stuff, but
Wow,
yeah,
that's so cool.
yeah,
I cannot wait to see some of that stuff come out. That's awesome.
yeah.
I
It's
am
a great
still
project.
waiting to find a source of ministry. Like, my wife and I really want to find some avenue of ministry, teaching, some outlet where we can really be involved with
Right. Yeah, that's
community.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's awesome. It's very beneficial to have that, and I think that's a great idea that one of the brothers came up with.
hmm
Um, and I was all for it. I was all for it.
That's cool.
Good project.
So, I'm really curious. This is a question that I'm really curious about because I've had to struggle with it myself. I've only been a Faithist for like a year, so I'm a baby.
Okay. 1 year?
Okay. Yeah, a year.
Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, it's been a little bit over a year since I started reading the book, but I didn't become a Faithist immediately. So
Right. It took time
yeah,
for you to accept it.
this coming up October will be 2 years of actually reading the book.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
for me and my wife.
That's awesome.
Right? Yeah, very, very, it definitely changed our lives for sure.
Yeah, it's a life changer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the question to you is, in your daily life, when you're interacting with, people who, whatever day-to-day life, and you're interacting with people, I don't even know how to phrase the question, because like when people, do you ever have any opportunities not to evangelize, but just to be able to speak up and share the principles of WASP and Faithism, and how does that go for you? Like how does that?
Yeah. That's a good question, because when I first started reading the WASP, right, in the first few years,
You wanted to tell everybody.
I wanted to tell everybody, not just everybody, but everybody. I actually wanted everybody to have this book
Right.
on the globe. That's how serious it was for me.
Yeah.
And just the first few pages made me want to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to realization that I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
So I kind of slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
But I still I wouldn't say evangelize, but when people ask me about my faith, or I know or feel as if somebody could benefit from what I know based on the Owaski and other books that I've read, I do kind of give them and kind of slowly feed them, planting the seed, and over time helping them get to a level where they could understand different subjects and understand the creator more. But it's tough. It's tough, especially at first, because everybody was telling me to stop reading the book. It's demonized. It's a demon book. My brothers was telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
And my Jehovah's Witness friends were telling me that. And so I kind of slowed down. It was kind of,
It's discouraging.
it was discouraging.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept reading because I know what I was reading, and I know what it felt like to read it. So it was awakening stuff within me that wanted me to awaken other people, but I wasn't able to do it because I wasn't, getting through to them. But
Right.
as time goes by, I slow down at that. I don't go around telling people about Owaski, like random people or even friends. Yeah, but
It's
for
a
the
hard
most
it's a
part,
hard lesson to learn, to go through that.
yeah, it is. It is. It
But
is a hard lesson.
everybody is on their own path. This is definitely the hardest thing I had to do. It probably took me about 6 months before I had sort of this cycle of excitement and depression over, like,
Right.
what am I going to do with all this amazing information?
Right. Especially religious people. They don't.
No.
Yeah. You know what I realized? I realized that this information, this knowledge is for people who are looking for it.
Exactly.
It's for those who are looking for it. Because everybody already believes in something. It's either they believe in something or they don't want to believe in nothing. And I was looking for something. I was part of the religion, but I knew there was more. I was yearning for more. I felt that there was more. And so I kept looking for it. And I found it.
This wanting to know, Okay, so I do a lot of, well, I don't do a lot, but I do some TikTok. I do TikTok lives and stuff.
Right.
And there are lots of people who would love to come on and debate and just, have that argumentative conversation. And what I have found is, one, I'll either just go with whatever they want to talk about, like, a Muslim will come on, or a Hindu or Christian or
Right.
whatever, and they want
Right.
to talk about whatever they want to talk about. As long as they're not trying to be persuasive, that's fine, because it's just an exchange of
Right.
ideas.
Uh-huh.
But when I feel that they actually have curiosity about what it is to be a faithist, then it's like everything opens up. If they're asking questions and they're really curious, they're not asking questions for a debate, like trying to pick it apart so they can,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but if they're curious, then that curiosity is my cue to open it up. But until I feel
Right.
them being curious, it's just
Right.
kind of surface level, sort of basic exchange of ideas. But it's so exciting to see somebody get curious. It's like a seed taking, the water in and sprouting.
Right. Right. And you kind of grow antennas to kind of feel how or who is curious and who isn't, or who's ready for it and who isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Definitely.
these times that we're living in, these times of epidemics,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of understand the thirst for knowledge, the thirst for what is going on, the thirst for what is the remedy for what is going on.
Yeah.
You know, people are asking themselves questions. People are searching for answers. So this is
Mm-hmm.
a time when, and it is happening when a lot of people are learning and growing towards the light and find the answers that they're seeking. Because the information is, we're living in the information age, and all the informations are out there. We just
Yeah.
gotta go out and find them. You know,
People are leaving the sort of group think, like this religious mindset, and
right?
actually questioning things for themselves and being curious for themselves. And that curiosity is taking them to places that they never would have imagined
Yeah,
would be on their path. But that path is, well, all roads lead to the creator eventually. And
right. Nobody want to take the long road.
yeah, the long road.
Yeah, but that's what led me to this. That's what led me this far. Actually, being able to detach myself from the group think mentality and thinking for myself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough. It was tough in the beginning because it was hard not to tell people,
Mm-hmm.
but the people that I told really was trying to drag me away from it. So I let
Mm-hmm.
them go because they were trying to hold me down from flying. That's how I felt. I felt like a bird that was trying to be held down. So I just broke free and left left everybody and just started focusing on studying the book. I was like a hermit studying the wasp for a whole year.
It does feel like that.
Yeah,
Felt like a really long winter for us. I was actually
right,
going to a Bible study while I was reading Olaspi, and I left Christianity way before I left the Bible study. And when I did
right,
leave, I think I had basically checked out of being a Christian for like 6 months, and I was trying to leave, but I was like, well, I don't want to preach to them. I don't want to have any like spirit of condemnation. I'm just going to
right,
leave. And if anybody wants to be curious about why I left, then I can have a conversation with them. Right. These are my friends.
right,
I've known them for 2 or 3 years. Right.
right,
Nobody has ever asked me why I left. And nobody has even called me to check on, see how I'm doing or anything. And so
right,
it's very kind of like, it's like shedding the old skin, getting new skin. It's like a whole new life. Literally, it feels like a whole new life, new friends, new family, new belief
right,
system, new outlook on everything.
Right.
It's transformative, and people can't understand that until they're ready for it.
This is true. This is true.
If they were if it was pushed on them prematurely, it would probably spoil it for them forever. They wouldn't be able to get to that place, you know?
Right. And to
It
accept
needs
it.
to be organic. Yeah.
Yeah. These things have to happen organically.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are your plans for the future? Like 10 years in, you've got some projects.
Right.
Like what are your what do you feel inspired for the future?
Man, that's a good question. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about that. And I'm thinking that I could inspire. That's one thing. I want to support other people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give back to others, to other faithists. I just
Yeah.
want to be able to be an inspiration to other faithists, especially those who are just coming into the faith and
Mm-hmm.
those who are struggling, those who need help, maintaining their standing
Dealing
with
with tech tracks
Creator.
and stuff.
Yeah, because it's not easy. It's not easy coming into the faithist movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to be an inspiration. And I kind of feel that the work that I'm doing now will help people keep going. And it helps me keep going as well. So it's a struggle for myself and others. And I feel that together we can make it. We can make it all the way. Um, yeah, because it's just tough being a faithist.
Yeah.
Tough. So I just want to remain a faithist. That's
Mm-hmm.
most my goal for the
Just
next
keep going up and going to the light.
and inspiring others, my brothers and sisters, to come along with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have anything big. I mean, I would like to live in a community, in a small
Mm-hmm.
community of faithists, of like-minded people,
Yeah.
and have kind of like in the book of Jehovah's Kingdom on Earth, probably have artists, have gardeners, priests,
Craftsman.
all types of different people with talent and people
Mm-hmm.
with the ability to provide to the people in the community in one way or another.
That'd be
And
cool.
yeah, this could help forward the movement, I feel. I can't do it on my own. We need each other.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ceremonies, like the equinoxes and the solstices and different things, like it's really hard to form a circle with just you and your wife, right?
Mhm.
It's more of a
It
straight
is.
line. And there's like so many things that I, want to do, like spiritual rites and ceremonies that
Yeah,
you need a group for. I mean,
right,
you need a community, and it's tough. Like we have I'm a part of a group that tries our best to do things over the phone,
right.
to do ceremonies and stuff, but it's tough, to
Yeah,
um sort of, I guess it's not pretending to, because
right,
I actually feel connected when we do the meditations and stuff. So it's definitely
right.
not pretending. But to be able to actually be there in person would be like another level. It would be cool.
Yeah, these things are better in a group and in person.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. It's fulfilling to a certain degree when we do the meditations online and on the video, on the what you call it, the conference calls.
Mm-hmm.
It's the work gets done
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's also good to meet people in person and to do these ceremonies in person because it's more these things uplift your energy and
Mm-hmm.
you could create a certain energetic field when these things are going on and these
Yeah.
ceremonies and stuff are going on. So I agree with you. I
One of
agree.
these days, we're gonna have a giant Faithist bust, collect all the
Right.
Faithists and meet in the middle of the country and
Yeah,
just have
man.
a big circle.
Exactly. Have a big circle and create a vortex of energy
Yes,
to
yes,
uplift us.
exactly.
Yeah. And these things really attract the angels. The high raised angels are there when this happened, because even in the Owaspia it says that when two meet, the creator is there and the angels are
Mm-hmm.
there. So
Yep.
that's power.
One of these days, man. One of these days. I mean,
Mm. The time is becoming ripe for that.
mm-hmm.
The time is ripening. The second Dan of Cosmine is approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this painting is about. It's about the second Dan of
Okay.
Cosmine,
Hmm.
where the high raised angels are being able to uplift those below them, clearing out
Mm-hmm.
the first level, the second level,
Yeah.
and the energies will be amplified on the earth in the corporeal realm, and we'll be able to feel more connected, creator.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the goal. That's the ideal.
Yep. And it's starting, and you can feel the beginnings of it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Brother Rich, I'm gonna let you go, but I really just want to let you know how much I appreciate
For
um,
sure.
you being willing to talk to me and get to know me, and letting me get to know you.
Right.
And it's very encouraging to experience, because I'm so young in this, experience people who have, sort of broken trail a little bit.
Right. I encourage you to
So,
keep going. I'm young myself.
mm-hmm,
I'm young myself. The people that I talk to, people that I affiliate with, have been doing this for over 30, 40 years.
mm-hmm,
And I just encourage people to keep going.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Just never give up. Never doubt yourself. I mean, it's human to doubt here and there. It's important
Yeah. Never give
also.
up.
Yeah, faith is important. To
Mm-hmm.
strengthen your faith, you got what it takes.
Yeah. I have a really good partner. My wife and I encourage each other, support each other, discipline
Nice.
each other, uh,
Yeah.
help heal each other, just, all of it.
Yeah.
So it's nice having a spiritual partner that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I'm extremely blessed to have that. I feel very much I have an advantage.
Yeah, you do.
Having that.
That's powerful to have a wife to support you. That
Hmm.
helps you keep going, and you help her as well. So
We've been we've been in each other's lives for a decade, and married, dating, all of it.
well, that's good.
But here's the thing: for most of that time, we were never really truly on the same page on spiritual, religious,
Right.
like anything.
Right.
And Owaspy is the only thing that has been able to strip us of all of the old baggage and bring us together on one single page. And we are together for the first time in our relationship.
Right.
It's amazing.
On a
I
higher level. On a higher level too, I imagine. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. You're blessed.
Oh yeah,
It's a
definitely.
blessing. Definitely is.
All right. So on that note, I'm gonna let you go. I do have it's a question, but I'll wait till we get off, and then I'll probably text it to you later.
Okay.
Um, but I just wanted to say thank you, and I hope you have a good night. And maybe we can do this again sometime soon, or work together doing something else, and just keep the association going.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always open for interviews. I'm always open to talk. I mean, we could do this again another time if you
Cool.
get an update.
Awesome.
It was
All
good
right.
getting
Well,
to know you, brother.
Peace and light to you, brother. I'll let you go, and
Good night to
talk
you
to you
too.
later.
All right. Peace and
All right.
light.
Bye.